we give an assignment, and I'm going to invite everyone. I'm going to invite us in.
I didn't do my assignment too.
In fact, the assignment is good. Is to be done here.
I
Okay.
forgot totally.
So we are going to do it together. I'm going to invite us now.
Okay, I did the assignment, but I later found out you gave us what is it called? Particular values for our variables.
Values for it. Okay, you actually just
I just
particularize it.
like typed the whole thing. It was, I think this morning I saw this, but I was too busy to come back to
Okay,
it.
okay. You didn't make use of these values. Okay,
Yes,
okay.
but
But okay,
I
let's
think the assignment.
interact. Okay, let's interact now. I'm sending the link to us, so everyone should come in so that people that will undo every of the section. We are, I think one person has left, probably network or engagement. So we are three. We should be able to undo the assignment. So it is a C program that calculates the average, sorry for the typo, average of five numbers, okay? So, and we have been given variables, variable num1, num2, num3, num4, num5, and then average. So the values for each of the variable for num1 is equals to and num2 15, num3 25, num4 10, num5 13. So we are now asked to calculate the average of five numbers, of these five numbers. One very thing that ALX will always try to remind us, and one of the very, very key skill required for every programmer is the ability to be able to understand problem that we want to solve. We could see that this problem is very basic, is very probably simple to understand, or probably we can see that okay, this problem we can tell the answer by just looking at it. But that is not enough as it is of like it is not enough as it is required of for being a software engineer where we want to what automate it. Okay, probably want to create a software, an application that will what be calculating average. So now it is not something that is very it is not something that we can just say the answer that requires us to just say the okay, five numbers average is this. We need to what create a pattern, we need to create a system, we need to create a logic that is going to that is going to do or perform the actions. So it is a thing of which we want to create set of instructions for the computer to what to always carry out. We want to automate. And now we need to understand that we are what dealing with a machine that what has a particular language that it understands. So in that point, we need to understand that okay, for a particular language that I'm going to utilize, for a particular language that I'm going to use to automate this system to perform these tasks, I need to understand the language, the culture, the syntaxes and the semantics and every of the acceptable strings and operator for that language. C, for example, it has its own language symbols, it has its own syntax, it has its own semantics, it has its own operator, it has rules. Okay, I think the general word is to understand the rule guiding acceptable operations on that language. So after that, we now need to understand the problem itself, how to break it down. After breaking down the problem, we need to now understand how am I going to what are the needed materials. It's just like doing a project whereby you need to break it down into identifying the needs. Okay, identifying the needs for that project, human resources, and what financial resources and intellectual resources and every resources that is needed. Now, to calculate an average of five numbers, we need to understand that okay, five numbers average, we need to understand what average is and how it is being calculated. Then after that, we need to understand that, okay, five numbers, then these five numbers, we need to have them available. After having them available, then their values was, we need to know what their value is, or we need to always know what their value is in order to perform the operation. So all of these factors are just like even part of the things that is going to be covered in the aspect of thinking like a programmer. So now for C language, we've understood this basic structure of a C language, which we talked about the last time. That is, in order to write a language in C, such that when we run it, it will what? It will give us results. We need to understand the acceptable structure of which we talked about the last time. Before this, we talked about the comment section and so on and so forth. Now, just to quickly dive into what we have for today, some persons are already coming in. So, so now we are going to practicalize this now. Now, for this average of five numbers, I think that we understand in mathematics the formula for calculating average. That is the total number of value divided the addition of the individual values, sorry. So summation of individual values, sum n, divided by total summation of what? Of the given values. Okay. So when we say addition of individual value, that is num1 plus num2 to num n, whatever this thing it is being given, whatever range. So num1 to num n divided by the total what quantity, probably that should be able to that should be explicit, of the given value. So it is what? Five numbers. So I think that is what the basic logic. I should be writing this with like a pen, was I don't have that. So I'm inviting us now. Let us begin. We should join the link, please. The link is on the chat. So let us start now. In fact, we're cleaning all of this. So I'm dedicating the comment section. Will go to, it is Tutu. The comment section will go to Emmy, okay, and then the header section will go to Abisola. Then the declaration section will go to Sheriff. I'm taking this easier parts, of course. And then the main section will go to myself. So what we are trying to look at here, we are trying to ensure that we get familiar with all of this, because I will repeat myself, when we start the C on the VI, we are going to start with every of these things. You are going to write it from scratch. When I open the replit, all of these things were like there automatically. Although we will move to that section soon, but we need to get familiar with it and be able to what? Interpret, explain every of the individual sections, aside when the program becomes bulky that we don't have time for that. We really need like a broader template. Okay, when you say a broader template, the sections are already there. You just need to start coding. So let's get to work. Please, let's come in. I've not seen anyone get in with the link. I have shared the link on the chat. Okay, so let's get to work. We are starting from line 6.
Please share on WhatsApp, please.
Okay. I've shared. Let everyone get to work. I think my own section is even the last one as far as this project is concerned. So,
Yeah, please give me a few seconds. I'm trying to log on to my laptop.
okay. Okay, Bisela has joined and Sharif has joined. Wow, this is even good. We can have up to 100 persons. So you can just start with your own section while every other person comes. So I think I'll just start with mine. You can, so if you are starting your section, you have to start it above mine. Okay. Okay. So if you have our notes, we can check our notes. There's no harm in trying to see the resource. It's just for us to write it so that it can become part of us. We know these are just basic, but it is from basic we go to advanced. Okay. The header section is yet to be done. The declaration section. What's happening? Hello?
Sorry, I will join soon. I'm attending to my boy. Please, just give me a few minutes.
Okay, okay. Okay, let me open the structure again. So probably we need to see. So this is the six sections. So can use that as because we are born in time. Okay.
Okay, hello. Sorry, declaration. Do we already have them? Do like do we have Okay, let me confess. I'm sorry. I'm actually doing something, working sort of. So, what is it I'm
Okay.
supposed to do?
So we okay. We have the variables already given to us according to the assignment.
Okay, these
So
ones. All right.
we have to declare the variables. Okay. Probably before anyone start. Okay, let's pause. Let us try to see. Let's write the pseudo code. I'm going to clear all this. I think yeah, I'm going to clear all this. So let's try the pseudo code and like we call it pseudo code and algorithm to calculate average. So we need to understand it. Average of five numbers. So we have the given numbers and we have num one, num two, num three, num four. I haven't stopped at num three safe. Okay. And num five, but it's good to go extra mile. Okay. So what else is on your assignment? We have the values given to each of the variables. 2, 15, 25, 10, 13. Okay, so let's make it interesting. So num 2 is 15, num 3 is 25, and num 4 is 10. So we are trying to get this pseudocode and algorithms that will solve it, because that is even the very first step. If we are doing things rightly, like a programmer, like a software engineer, not even programmer, anybody can become a programmer.
Giving numbers.
So we have the given numbers, yes. Okay. So now what do we need? Firstly, before we start even writing the step, like pseudocode step one, step two, all of that, what we need to understand how to calculate average of given numbers. Okay. And I was trying to explain a logic the other time. Average is based on my own understanding, individual addition of individual.
Summation of all numbers divided by the total number.
Okay, I think that's a more technical term. So summation of
Oh,
individual,
yeah. Or you say variable, anyone. I didn't think I did.
okay, numbers of variables, that's good too. Okay, then divided by
The total number.
by the total numbers. Okay, so we could get the logic now. So now how do we implement it? So step one, what can we start? How can we do it now? So let's do the pseudocode together. So I think this is even the best way. If you can achieve this as understanding, it's very best as one of the key skills needed to thrive as a software engineer and probably going into C. So creating the pseudocode. So step one, what do we do? What do we do? Looking at this, we have the numbers given to us, even with the name and then the values. So how do we go about it? What should be our step one? Let's say step one, I'm going to give that we are starting. Okay, step two, what do we do? Anybody can, your pseudocode can be your own. You don't really need to follow a particular convention because there's no defined convention that it must be like this. Okay, so even what I said step, but it's always good that you put it in step so that you can now transfer it from actual English based on your understanding into um, the code itself. So step one, we start. Then what do we do? What do we do next?
Declare variables.
Declare. Wow, I like that. The variables, right? So
Yeah.
there's two things. Is a crash course. Declaring variables is different from initializing variables. When you declare variables, you just say let A, let B, let C, or let there be A, let there be B, or creating A, creating B. When you initialize variables, you are now giving them values. You now say let A equals this, let B. So I'm just giving that as an int. Okay, so step two, declare variables. Then what do we do next?
Then I think, like what you said, initialize variables since
Okay,
we
step.
have numbers assigned.
Okay, initialize initialize variables. No need to complicate it. Variables, am I correct? Am I not spelling it well? So what's the next thing? Step four. So we can be practical. So step one, declare variables. So we have num1, num2, num3, num4, num5, and then average, right? So initialize variables, we can now say, excuse me, please. Initialize variable, we can now say num1 equals the value
So,
2. Okay, please call it num1 equals 2. But let me make it another line just to make it neat. So num1 equals 2. Num2 equals, that's what?
15.
15. Num3 equals 25.
25. Okay.
Num4 equals
10
10. And
and 30.
num5 equals 13. Okay, so we have initialized variable. So now step 4, what do we do?
Add the numbers.
So add,
Uh, add the the total number of variables.
okay, add
No,
the,
sorry.
mhm,
Sum up variables.
okay, sum of,
Sum up. Oh, sum up. Yeah, you're right. Sum of individual variables or something. Yeah.
okay, okay. So separate is that, what are you telling me?
I don't know.
Please, oh.
Okay. Abi.
Okay, sum of individual variables. Now step 5, what do we do?
Get the average of the sum.
We are now saying calculate
Yeah.
average of the sum. So we have to specify how the calculation is to be, like making our algorithm explicit. So we can
Okay.
now say average equals what? Sum of variables divided by total number of variables, right? Which we can now make it explicit again. We can now even say average equals n1, you can shorten it, value of n1 plus n2 plus n3. Okay, num1, we have to be consistent. That's one of the features of algorithm. Num3, num4, num5 divided by total number now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Although when we do, okay, let's by the side, by the way, sometimes let's just move on. I don't want to complicate it. So we can say it like this, right? Are we on the same track?
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what do we do? Step, this is step 6. This is step 7. What do we now do as we move on with our query?
This
We've
where is
gotten
step
the,
5.
okay, it's supposed to be step 5, sorry. Yeah, step 6. So we've already given the logic to calculate the average. So the next thing to do is
To
we should
print.
print. Yeah, good. So print the average. Okay. And can stop or end the program. So even here, we can also choose to print the individual variables. That's optional, like trying to construct a string, like saying average of num1, num2, num3, num4, num5 is, setting it into what? Average. I could say this is like optional, but I'm just trying to, you can see that. So no, no, so the very big achievement here is we have our pseudocode already, right? I'm going to cut this out, or copy it out, and we use it to solve the problem. Normally, we could have pseudocode. This our pseudocode is in 6 step. We could create it to be in 3 step. We could create it to be in as many steps as possible. Okay. So what matter most is to understand what we are doing. So guys, I think we should get to work right about now. Somebody left. Let me see. I think that's Abisola. Okay, okay. Okay, welcome back, Ramotamo. I think you are going to take the place of Abisola right now. She is to. Okay, can I ask, were you available? Were you around in the previous class? Hello, Ramotamo.
No, I wasn't around. I was having the same issue. The laptop was
Oh,
heavy.
oh,
It
oh,
was going
sorry.
through updates tonight. So yeah.
Okay, okay. Actually, we treated C program. We started our C programming series, so we talked about a lot of things. But I shared the live session that we did, so probably you could go back if you, or if you don't, if you mind, to check some concepts. And then we had an assignment just to quickly push us even to new stuff, and then to get our hands into C as much as possible. So the assignment is to calculate average of 5 numbers, the values that we are given. So based on what we learned the last time, we did this addition of two numbers. Okay, so we are using that knowledge to just move on. I know that majority are new to C, and even some of the concept that we are using right now, we might be somehow new, but we really just want to get us doing something so that sometimes we might not really know what we are doing in the first place, but when we now get to that bridge, it will look easier. So what we just did just now was we created the algorithm that is going to calculate the average of 5 numbers, which we were able to successfully create. So we had all the step and we got into 6 step. So, and we have been able to share every of the tasks to each person. So Kemi, you can see she's already writing on the screen. She's writing the what are they calling it? The comments. She's assigned to do the comments, and then Abisola is back. Okay, Abisola is to write on the header, and then Sheriff is to work on the declaration, and I myself am to work on the main section. So moving to our recapping our previous class, we talked about the sections for the C program, and then we talked about 6 sections, which some of them are optional and some are very compulsory, which we noted out. Depending on what you are you are writing, depending on what you are programming, depending on the need of your program, some section might be optional, some might be important. So that is what we are trying to ensure, that we recap, ourselves, and then we move on to what we have today. So that's about that. Okay, I could
Okay, thank you.
see, yes, I could see Bisola doing something. Do we really need math.h? Let's see. Okay, continue. Just continue, please. Don't mind me. I shouldn't have said anything. Well, Chem is really up and going with all the variables, declaring them.
So what do we need?
Okay, I could see something that Kemi introduced, which was not even part of the variables, and I think I like that. She's creating a separate variable for sum, which is going to be the addition of each of the individual variables. So that means at the long run, to calculate the average, we are going to be doing sum over total number instead of num1 plus num2 plus num3 to num5 all over total number. I think that looks cleaner. Okay. Okay, Bisola has actually included the necessary parts. Yes. STDIO. Okay. Yes. Okay. Sharif has finished his declaration already. Let me then come into mine. So, mhm. Okay. So I think let's move. That's very good one from everyone. Okay. So we have the variables declared. We're following our algorithm. Okay, as a guide. We have started. We created the comments of what this program will do, and we have declared all the variables. So sum is going to come in. Okay. So the next thing is to now initialize the variable, step 3. Okay. So guys, we can initialize the variable from above while declaring them. We can choose to initialize them inside the main function, inside the body of the main function. So let's choose the second, initializing them inside the body of the main section. So I'm going to do from num1 to num3. Now, okay, let me just go. So num1 is equals to the value, which is 2. Then we terminate it. Num2 is equals the value, which is what? 15. Num3 is equals 25.
25.
So Ramosamo, can you join the, oh no, you have not created the link for Replit. Okay. Okay. Oh, someone did something very, very interesting. I was actually waiting for that to happen, like an error to occur. So okay. Someone declared a float. Hmm. Okay. So um let me see. Kemi is done with the comments. Okay. Let me initialize all the variables. So num4 is um, 10 and num5 is 13. Now, okay, Okay. Number five is missing here. So this error is cleared out. So we've initialized the all the variables. So we are still in the point of initializing. So now we need to what calculate the sum of individual
We
numbers.
sorry, Mike. We under the sheriff's part, we have number four showing up twice.
We have oh, thank you for that. Okay, okay. Oh, okay. So I think we are good to go. Okay. So now our algorithm back to whiteboarding. We have initialized the individual variables from num1 to num5. So the next thing is we have to calculate some of the individual variables. And we have a variable that is called sum, which is going to do that. So I think Kemi to do that. Kemi, we we have to write the syntax that will do the sum. That should be inside the main function. Okay. So and somebody should have scolded me for my main function. It is not complete. We have to return a value. So Kemi, assign value for sum. Okay. Okay. It's going to be after num5. Okay. Perfect. So we have the step 4 solved out. So we have the value for we have the value for the sum given. So the next thing now we have to calculate the real logic here, the average. So it is more of like assigning value for the average to be calculated. So Abisola, you have to do that too. So do the do step 5, which has to do with the calculation of the average. The algorithm is on the screen. Okay. Okay, nice. So Abisola, you have to do the step 5 based on our algorithm, calculating the average. So assigning value to average. Average has been declared here as AVE. Okay. So we are now to just do the same way like sum. Okay, Kemi is doing that. Okay, perfect. But there is variable name mismatch. What was declared here is AVE. Okay, so this is step what has been cleared. Step 5 has been cleared. You see, one of these things, as basic as all of this look like you can just run it once, don't do step. It's really really necessary because you will need an algorithm, you need flowchart, you need all of those pseudocode to really solve big problems. And it starts from all these smaller ones. You can see we are actually just going to the pseudocode every bit of the time. It's just for the fact that we really want to imbibe a particular skill, mechanism, character, mentality, so that we can always solve problems like this. We are still on the preliminaries actually. So now the next step, step 6. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So step 6, we want to print the answer. So we are going to be using the printf function to print to the output stream. So we should understand that the printf, when we get to printf, we will understand more, but just a crash understanding. Printf receives strings of character. Okay, it can receive any string, can receive characters, can receive floating points, can receive um, integers, and so on. When we get to data type, everything will become clear. So, but you have to enclose it in a string, which is this double quotation. So we are now going to say the average of n1 of num1, num2, num3, num4, and num5 equals, then we'll give it the value float. We are using the specifier float f, but we are coming somewhere, we are going somewhere. Okay, we can now say, let's use to printf function. We can say printf for the first one. Okay, and num1 equals %d. Remember, %d is to capture the actual value of the given string or variable. So you can say num1 equals %d, num2 equals %d. %d means we are capturing integers. Num3 equals %d, num4 equals %b, and num5, you can put the and there, it's just a string. Num5 equals %d. Okay, and we are adding a new line. Then we have to reference each of the variable, that is num1, num2, num3, num4, num5, according to the sequence. So it collects sequence of strings 1, 2, 3. Let me put space here. 4, 5. This is going to print this statement according to how it is given here. And with the percent whatever, it is going to reference it according to the values what's given. So close the statement, terminate it with the terminator. So we can now move on to the second printf. That means it is going to print 2 lines. So the average of num1, num2, we can say num1 plus num2 plus num3 plus num4, so equals %f, of which we are referencing %f to be average, AVE. That is why the %f is for floats. When we get to data type, we understand what float means. So float is a type of data for numbers with decimal points. Float is a type of number for numbers with decimal points. We have another type of data that holds decimal values too, which is called double. So basically in C, we have data type which are like, we can group them into numbers and characters. Okay, but when we break down numbers as type of the data type, you can now have integer, you can now have floating points. Integer are just whole numbers without decimal. Floating points are the ones with decimals. And then you have double two, that is the classes of numbers which are data type. Integer, float, and double. Okay. And then when you have the classes of characters, you now have single characters, and then you have string characters. Example of string characters is like this quotation, this sequence of characters enclosed in this quotation. When you say a character, you are referring to just T alone, or this quotation alone. Character is a single value. But when you now what combine everything together into sequence or strings, you call it string. So it's a string of different character. That's just a crash course about data type, and um, numbers and characters. So, guys, we are done already with our value. You can see that there is even something we can say. We can, okay, we are done. Let's just print what we have here. So we have, this is going to be the output. Num1 equals this, num2 equals, num3 equals, num4, okay, num5 equals, okay. And then we are now saying the average of num1 plus num2 plus num3 plus num5 equals this average. You know, we have the variable sum. We can find a way to coin this English here. The average of num1 plus num2 plus num3 plus num5, or we can say the sum of num1 to num5 equals, reference the sum that we have here, and then average, still put on that print f for average, but we don't need that. Let's just go with what we have here. So let's run, and hopefully let's check our code from top to bottom. Compiler runs code. Compiler processes code from top to bottom and left to right. So we have the comments, and it's a multi-line comment. Don't forget, the comment is optional to the way you really want to write it, but this is like one of the standard ways. Okay. And then we have the header section. Okay. And then we have our declaration section here. Okay. And then we have our main section. At some point, don't forget, this declaration section that we have at this point here could come in here too. Don't forget that. So, but some of the time, because why we have here, this is obviously the global, is used for global declaration, whereby values that appears here are values that are meant to be used often and often and often and often. You understand? So that's why they call it global. I could believe that when we had today class, the today tax, when we read the materials, the concept of variable was being introduced to us, where we had the local variable and global variable. So we could understand local variable, understand global variable, and we will still treat it here when we move. So we have the main function here, and then we have our variables being initialized, and also we have our logic being what given here, and we can say initialize variables. We can have code logic, okay, and then we have what the printing out, and we have a return value. If it returns 0, it means it is successful. If it returns another value, then something is wrong. So to save all the talk, let's run the code. And here we have it. We say num1 equals 2, and we have, as we printed it here, you can see that every of the output was according to the value. Num1 was 2, of course. Num2 was 15. Num3 was 25. Num4 was 10, and num5 excuse me, was what? Was 13. And the average of num1 plus num2 plus num3 plus num4 equals 13 as given here. Now let us verify. Let us see the total sum. We can say printf sum equals, we can then reference percent %d and reference sum. Okay, so we really want to see the total value. Okay, so we can run. Now this should be on a new line so that it won't, if you look at what we have here, although this did not show it, but we see the total sum. Okay, from here total sum is 65. You can see that there was no space and the next line followed because there was no new line. So adding the new line syntax breaks this man down to the next line. So total sum is 65. This n is coming from %dn that I wrote here. So guys, we have been able to see, we use some kind of stuff here. We use the printf function, and we could try understand some of the format specifier. We call this format specifier for integers, %d, and so on. So we've been able to do our assignments. So we can see that 65 divided by 5 is obviously 13, right? If we do the mathematics. So this is actually correct. And now there is something that happened here. This value was printed in decimal. And I like what the Sheriff did in the first place while he was declaring the what? The variables. He assigned that the what? Each of the integers, each of the individual numbers, that they are integers. Each of the individual numbers, they were integers. Okay, even some can be a float because at some point you could have uh, in fact everything could be a float if we are dealing with capturing even real numbers. So sometimes floating point numbers are called real numbers. That is, at some point in reality we could have to calculate average of numbers with fractional parts, numbers with decimal. You understand? So but looking at it here, he captured all of the individual numbers as integers, whole numbers that does not accept decimal, and then the floating point should be an average in case there is a division that happened from what each of the from the addition of individual numbers from the sum and what the total numbers. Peradventure we have something like 2 here, and although this is not correct, we are going to be having, okay, I don't know what number will give us odd number. Let's say 3. Will 3 give us? No. Let's say 7. So we should have decimal. This is 9. I don't know. 65 divided by 7. I don't know the math too. So I think everybody.
Okay, how about we change one of the numbers themselves? Maybe instead of 15, let's have 16 or something.
Okay, let's add 16 here. So we are going to be having 66. Okay, so 66 divided by 5 should give us, okay, we are having 13 as a value, but let's see.
Is it's not printing out the decimal value.
You said?
The program will not print out the decimal number.
I can't hear, but I think she said the program is created. I didn't hear the
No,
last.
no, not printing out the decimal number.
Yes, yes, actually, what happened, there's a conversion that happened in the first place. If individual numbers, each of them had been a floating point. Okay, then when we do the division from here, it will accept floating point. And also, yes, that's just the point here.
Hello, hello,
Okay.
hello. I think it is actually this online thing that is making all these things impossible. I try checking with my I use
Com-
these code blocks again, and it worked. It gave me a floating point.
okay.
Like yeah,
Okay, so it's the compiler then. Thank you for that. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, okay. So we are good to go already. So guys, the assignment has been done, and we just let's move to what we have. How many minutes have we used?